Welcome to Wisdom of the Bible. Connect with God through our Bible stories. The book of Genesis conceals a war so massive that history chose to forget it. For kings commanding ancient empires marched against an enemy no army should have faced. They confronted 10,000 giants towering over the battlefield like living mountains. Were these the legendary Nephilim, descendants of fallen angels whose very existence defies explanation? And why was this colossal conflict buried in silence, erased from every historical record except sacred scripture? Ancient texts describe three distinct races of giants who walked the earth in Abraham's time. These beings possessed superhuman strength and towered far above ordinary men. They were the last echoes of a world that existed before the Great Flood. The Rephaim stood nearly 5 meters tall with bones dense as bronze. The Zuzim remain wrapped in mystery so deep that even their appearance was hidden from history. The Emim earned their name meaning the terrible ones, creatures whose fangs and elongated arms struck fear into every nation. Genesis chapter 14 describes this remarkable conflict with startling detail. It names the kings and their territories precisely. Amraphel ruled Shinar, the ancient land of Sumer where civilization itself was born. Arioch commanded Ellasar, a kingdom lost to time whose location scholars still debate. Kedorlaomer held dominion over Elam, corresponding to what we know today as Iran. Tidal bore the title King of Nations, suggesting an alliance spanning multiple territories and peoples. These four rulers formed a fearsome coalition that would shake the ancient world. For 12 years, the cities of the plain had served Kedorlaomer as vassals. In the 13th year, they rebelled against his authority. Bera king of Sodom led the uprising alongside Bersha of Gomorrah, Shernab of Admah, Shemeber of Zeboim, and the unnamed king of Bela. Their defiance would trigger a campaign of devastation beyond anything they imagined. But this was not merely a political dispute between rival kingdoms. The coalition of four kings was marching toward something far more dangerous. Their target was not just rebellious cities but the giant races who had dwelt in those lands since ancient times. These colossal beings represented a power and knowledge from before the flood. They were living monuments to the forbidden unions between heaven and earth. In the 14th year, Kedorlaomer and his allied kings descended with their armies. Their first target was Ashteroth-Karnaim, where the Rephaim made their stronghold. The ground trembled as these titans clashed with disciplined human armies. The Rephaim were warriors whose single strike could shatter an ordinary soldier. Yet despite their overwhelming strength, they fell before the relentless strategy. The coalition pressed onward to Ham, where the mysterious Zuzim held their territory. These enigmatic beings are mentioned only briefly in scripture as if time itself erased their memory. Ancient accounts speak of battle cries that echoed for days across the desert plains. The Zuzim fought with desperate ferocity, but they too were overwhelmed. Their entire race was defeated in a single devastating campaign. Next came Shaveh-Kiriathaim, where the dreaded Emim ruled the strategic lands. The very name Emim meant the monstrous or the terrible ones. The Moabites who came after them spoke of these giants with hushed reverence and fear. Their reputation alone had kept human armies at bay for generations. But the four kings showed no hesitation and drove forward until these fearsome guardians fell. The armies then swept through Mount Seir, routing the Horites from their mountain strongholds. They reached El-Paran near the wilderness, leaving devastation in their wake. Turning back, they came to En-Mishpat, which is Kadesh. There they defeated all the territory of the Amalekites. They also overcame the Amorites who dwelt in Hazazon Tamar. The campaign carved a path of conquest across the entire region. Now the rebellious kings of the plain could no longer avoid confrontation. The 5 kings assembled their forces in the valley of Siddim. This was the same valley filled with tar pits that would later swallow the fleeing armies. Bera and Bersha must have known their odds were grim. The 4 kings had just defeated 3 races of giants and numerous other peoples. Yet pride and desperation drove the 5 kings forward into battle. The clash in the valley of Siddim was catastrophic for the cities of the plain. The kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell into the slime pits. Their armies scattered in terror toward the mountains. The victorious coalition plundered everything of value from Sodom and Gomorrah. They seized all the food supplies and possessions of the defeated cities. Among their captives was Lot, the nephew of Abram who lived in Sodom. Word reached Abram that his kinsmen had been taken prisoner by the 4 kings. Abram did not hesitate despite facing armies that had just conquered giants. He armed 318 trained men born in his own household. These were servants who had lived with Abram for years and trusted him completely. Together they pursued the victorious kings as far north as Dan. Abram divided his forces under cover of darkness and attacked the enemy camp. His surprise assault scattered the armies of the 4 kings. He pursued them relentlessly to Hobah north of Damascus. Through courage and tactical brilliance, Abram recovered all the plundered goods. He brought back his nephew Lot along with the women and all the people taken captive. One man's faith and 300 loyal servants defeated what entire armies of giants could not withstand. The king of Sodom came out to meet Abram at the valley of Shaveh after this stunning victory. Abram had accomplished what seemed impossible against overwhelming military power. But there was another figure waiting to meet him that day. Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought bread and wine to Abram. This mysterious priest of God Most High blessed Abram for his victory. Abram gave Melchizedek a tenth of everything, acknowledging a spiritual authority above earthly kings. Before we continue with the spiritual implications of this forgotten war, take a moment to subscribe to our channel. These hidden biblical narratives reveal truths that challenge everything we think we know. Your support helps us bring more of these incredible stories to light. If you've stayed with us through this entire incredible journey, thank you. This forgotten war reveals depths of biblical history that most people never explore. Like this video and subscribe to our channel to discover more hidden stories from Scripture. Leave a comment sharing your thoughts on this remarkable conflict. Did you know this war was recorded in Genesis? What do you think about the giants who fought and fell? May God bless you as you continue seeking truth in His Word. The War of Kings and Giants was not just ancient history. It demonstrates timeless truths about faith, courage, and divine purpose when facing impossible odds.